Good morning, everyone. So, in this session, we are going to discuss under the basics of industrial safety, and the main topic is quality control in the occupational safety and health. And under that main topic, the small topic is accident reporting and investigation. Now, in the previous lecture, that is under IS 3786, we have already discussed about what exactly the accident is, incident is, near miss, etc. So different definitions, terminologies which are related to the accident. Then we have also discussed about the types of accidents, the causes of accidents, and different parameters under IS 3786. Now in this session, we are going to discuss about the accident reporting and investigation. So that may be an incident reporting and an investigation, or that may be a dangerous occurrence reporting and investigations. So before starting the actual session, we must know what exactly the accident is, then how the accident is happened, why the accident is happened, what are the causes, how to report an accident, who is responsible for reporting, then who is going to investigate that accident, and what is the reporting procedure and the statutory requirement for accident reporting and investigation, right? So first of all, what exactly the accident is? Any undesired, unplanned event arising out of employment which results in physical injury or damage to property, or the possibility of such injury or damage, that is nothing but accident. So accident is undesired. No one wants an accident is going to happen. There is no planning for this accident. It is unplanned activity or event, right? And if something has happened and if it is results in some injury or damage, then it is called as accident. Then what is the difference between this accident and near miss? So near miss situation must also be addressed because events which is did not result in injury or damage. In the accident, the result is in injury or damage to the material, damage to the environment, or damage to the person. But in this case, in the near miss, there is no damage, there is no injury, but it had a potential to do so. So it has the potential to make an injury, to make the damage to the environment or material, and it is not happen. That is why it is called as near miss. So it may happen, it may have the potential to damage the environment, to damage the material, to damage that building, or to injure some person. So that is called as near miss. So that is the basic difference between accident and near miss. Now, if the accident is happened, why we must go for the reporting and investigation for the accidents? So there are different motives, different objectives for reporting and investigation these accidents. Some of them are mentioned in this slide. So learning from what went wrong. So why this accident is happened? So before occurring the same or similar accident in the future, we must learn what exactly the wrong method, wrong technique, or some unsafe acts and unsafe condition in that accident that should be report and that should be studied. So that is one of the main reason why the reporting and investigation is required. Then determine the causes. So the cause may be a electrical cause, that may be a mechanical cause, that may be a different error made by the human, that may be a human error, some psychological error, some psychological pressure, some physiological activities, or some wrong gesture and postures of the person, or some ergonomic conditions. So the different causes may be there, but we have to determine what exactly the causes are for this accident. Then we have to prevent this recurrence. So we have to prevent this same or similar accident. in the same company or in the different companies, and that is why we must study this accident. We must report this accident to the government agency, to the management, to the different companies, so that other companies and government agencies can make some preventive actions or ask to take some preventive actions to other companies or system concern. Then improve the work environment. So if there is any condition which is determined in that accident that this is the unsafe condition, or this is the housekeeping issue, or this is the SOP issue, or it is the issue due to human error that SOP is not going to follow, etc. So whatever may be the reasons. So we have to improve the work environment. We have to adopt some safety culture in the company. That is one of the motive. Then meet regulatory requirement. So regulatory requirement means statutory requirement. That is nothing but the legal requirements. So whatever the sections or rules which are applicable for your company, for your section, for your machinery, for your operations, etc., that should be followed. In case if there is a rule or there is a section, there is some guidelines from the government or non-government agencies or from some standards, but if it is not followed, then there may be an accident. So for example, if some guidelines are given in the Factory Act 1948 or Maharashtra Factory Rule 1963 or MSIFC Rule 1989 or some standards or notification from Ministry of Environment and Forest, etc. So we have to refer, we have to follow all these regulatory requirements and guidelines. Then cost of incidents. So we have to identify what exactly the cost of this incident or accident or near miss. So that we have to prevent, we have to make this point in the cost estimation of our company, because this cost is nothing but the loss of the company. Then some moral obligations. So some persons are very sensitive, and that is why after an accident some persons are not going to operate the same machine or not going for the same uh, working conditions or in the particular section, in the particular department, because the accident is happen in that particular section or with that particular machinery, and that is why their morale may go down. So there is some point, that is moral obligation for determining the report, accident and investigation. Define trends. So we have to identify what exactly went wrong. We have to improve that. We have to correct and rectify. And on the basis of that, we have to define some trends. So that may be related to the safety, that may be related to the environment, that may be related to the health, or that may be related to the discipline of our company. Then provision of information in case of litigation. So some information, if it is missing, some information if it is not clear, or if it is not displayed on the notice board, signages, etc., or if the information is displayed or given to the workers or helpers, but it is not going to understand or understood, then that should be correct or rectified. Then reduction of operating cost by control of accident losses. So we have already determined the cost of accident, and we have to reduce this operating cost by controlling this accident losses. So for that purpose also we have to report and investigate this accident, how to compensate this accident cost with the operating cost, because no company or not a single company wants to increase the product price because sale maybe go down. So we have to reduce the operating cost by controlling the accident losses. Then expression of concern by management. So we have to report and investigate this accident. We have to submit the summary or the total report of this accident to the management, so that management may study the accident, then they can give some facilities to avoid this type of accidents. So some issues may be with management, some issues may be with worker, and some issues may be with the working environment or the safety culture in the company. So whatever may be the issues, that should be studied by the management and correct action, and the final decision should be taken by the management, and that is why we must report these accidents and investigate these accidents. Then what is the purpose of this accident investigation and reports? We have already discussed various parameters in the why answer, that is in the previous slide. So some of the purposes I have mentioned, that is identifying unsafe conditions and behaviors, then identifying needed organizational changes, providing constructive feedback, reinforcing best practices, reducing future incidents, prioritizing the safety and well-being of everyone in the organizations. These are some of the purpose of this accident investigation and reports. So we must identify the exact unsafe condition or unsafe fact, or that may be a behavioral problem of a person, right? And that is why nowadays in the investigation and reporting, behavioral based study is also an important parameter while investigation these accidents. So that behavior change in a person maybe due to some personal issues, personal problems, that may be due to some psychological pressure, that may be due to some workload or heavy workload or overload, that may be due to some health issues. So whatever may be the reasons, that all the reasons or the causes should be identified, studied, and that should be rectified. So these are some of the purposes of this accident investigation and reports. Then what, when, and how to investigation. So what to investigate? So all the accidents and near misses. So some companies are only investigating and reporting the accidents, and some of these companies are not going to investigate and report these near misses. But that is the wrong practice, because these near miss are having a potential to make an accident. So that should be also studied. The same procedure should be followed for the investigation, for the near misses, for the reporting also. Then that should be done as soon as possible. So after an accident, you should immediately report, visit that site. You should immediately ask the concerned persons what exactly is happened, what exactly the scene was. You have to study the scene, that is called as scene survey or survey of scene. Then you should ask the other supervisors and manager to not interfere this scene, because we have to collect the evidences from this scene so that we can understand what exactly happened is, and what are the causes, and then what exactly the reason is, and then we have to identify how to avoid this type of accidents, and what is the corrective action and proactive actions, right? So for that purpose, we should visit that particular site, that particular machine as soon as possible without interfering that scene. We have to survey that scene, and the data should be collected in a chronological manner. Then measurements, maps, and sketches should be made with the help of some experts. So in some of the cases, some measurements are required. So suppose, for example, if the accident is happen in the confined spaces, or that may be the example of underground, or that may be an example of tunnel, that may be an example of pipe, that may be an example of boiler house or compressor, etc. So in that cases, we have to identify, we have to measure the sound available, the noise available, the illumination, or the other requirements, right? So in some of the accidents, we have to measure some of the parameters. If the accident is related to the chemical accident, then we have to measure the oxygen level, or we have to measure the parameters or the chemicals which are already available in that environment. So that may be monitored by the personal sampler, that may be monitored by the some other monitoring equipments, and on that basis we can identify the reasons or the causes of that accidents. So some things are very essential, that is depends on the type of accident and where the accident is happen. Then we have to discuss the things with the eyewitnesses. We have to gather, we have to collect all the data which is provided by these eyewitnesses. So that may be a nearby person, that may be another operator, that may be another helper, that may be a supervisor, that may be a manager, or some other persons who are going to supervise or monitor all these activities in that department or in the company. So all the information should be collected by these eyewitnesses. Then reconstructions. So some eyewitnesses may not be available immediately. Some eyewitnesses may be available after some time. Some persons are saying something, some persons are other persons are saying something. So we have to collect the information, we have to collect this data, and we have to reconstruct all these scenario or in the chronological manner so that we can understand this accident is happened at 9 o'clock in the morning. So what exactly was going on at 8 o'clock, then what exactly happened at 8:30, then what is happened at 8:45, and then after every minute what exactly happened and why this accident is happened. So for that purpose, we have to reconstruct all this data or information in the chronological manner so that we can easily identify what is the exact sequence of this event or activity. Then statistics and trends. So some person may give some information that may be related to the kgs per day, kgs per hour, some pressure parameters, some temperature parameters, some production parameters, some machinery parameters, etc. So we must collect all this information because in some of the machinery there are some limitations that we should uh, attempt maximum RPM of this particular machinery is this much, or maximum pressure of this particular vessel or the reactor is this much only. We should operate this reactor or vessel or this machinery maximum up to that temperature only. So whatever may be the statistical data and the trends that should be collected by the investigator. Then what exactly the injury type is? So that injury may be to the fingers, that injury may be to the hands, that injury may be to the legs, that injury may be a head injury, that may be a neck injury, or that may be other injuries. So whatever the injury, that should be identified, that should be collected all the information related to the injury type, injury to the body, injury to the particular location, and the level or the severity of that particular injury. If the injuries happen to the more than one person, so we have to collect all the information of this injury types, their levels and severity, right? So all these things should be investigated. Who should investigate? So the supervisor is one of the key person who can investigate this accident, and along with supervisor, WHS officer or WHS representative, or if the accident is a big accident, it is a large accident, or if it is a fatality type of accident, or if it is a major accident, then we should form a team guided by the management, guided by the safety officer, guided by the general manager or managing director. So in that team, the particular expert of that particular section or the department, then the experts from the safety departments, some experts from the HR department, or who are handling the legal requirements of the company, that should be a team member, and all these members of this team should investigate these accidents. Then what is the requirement for this training and skills? So investigative and recording skills should be adopted by the persons who is going to investigate this accident. Means who is the team member of this investigation team. So that team member should go through this some trainings. The person should adopt some skills of investigation, of recording skills. Then he or she should adopt some technical knowledge which is related to that accident, which is related to that machinery, which is related to that storage vessels or reactors, etc., whatever may be there in the accident scenario. So all this technical knowledge should be adopted by the team member. He or she should adopt the interviewing skills, because the team member should discuss the things or conduct the interviews with the eyewitnesses, with the supervisor, with the workers, helper, operator, which is related to that particular sections. So you should know the interviewing skill. Then how to report this investigation and recording of these accidents. So this writing skill should be known to the team members, because this is an report which is required by the government agency like Department of Industrial Safety and Health, that may be required by the central agency, or that may be required by the management, etc. So the team member should know the writing skill of this report. So if you adopt this report of this investigation, then you can understand what exactly and how to report this investigation and reporting to the government or other agencies. Then determine the facts. So what are the facts? How to determine the facts of this accident? So for that purpose, we must know the visit accident scene. Then we must know the samples which are available in that scenario. Then visual records. Then preserve the accident items. Then identify people involved and interview witnesses and review informations. The first thing that should be remembered and recalled by the team members, that we have to identify or determine the facts and not the faults, right? So for it is not a fault finding technique, it is a fact finding technique, and that is why we should determine all these parameters. That may be some samples, that may be some records, that may be some accident items, and that may be some peoples which are involved in that accidents, some eyewitnesses, and we should write in a report what exactly the eyewitnesses said. And nowadays we can easily record this voice or the sound of these eyewitnesses. We can preserve these records. We can go for the video recording also with the help of mobile, with the help of some camera, etc. So nowadays the technological changes may help also to identify, to determine these facts. If in your company the CCTVs are available, then it is also going to help what exactly happened in that particular section. You can identify, you can easily observe the things which are happen in that CCTV footage, and on the basis of that you can easily determine the facts which are happen in the accident or before the accident, right? So all the things get together, form a report, and we have to review this information. Then what are the interviewing techniques? So put at ease. So that should be not a burden. That should be not a psychological pressure to that person. That may be a worker, helper, or supervisor. So that may be a simple talking or discussion activity. And from this discussion activity or question answer session, you have to get the answers of the particular points which is related to that accidents. Then assure no blame. So blame game should not be there. in this activity, in these interviewing techniques, nobody should point out some person or the fault of a person. So that should be discussed in a easier way, in a softened way, so that the person can easily discuss the real things, the facts which are happening in that particular accident. Then ask witness to relate their account of the accident, what exactly the accident is, how it happened, why it happened, if there is some judgment, if there is some predictions, if there is some points which are showing or indicating before an accident that this particular machine is beeping, this particular machinery is having some sound or some other activities which may be a cause of this accident. So whatever may be the activity, that should be collected, this information from that particular person, that may be a supervisor or operator. Then listen carefully, that is one of the main point in this interview technique. So you have to listen all the things whatever he or she wants to elaborate with related to that accident. Then ask questions, that is a reinforcement activity. Then repeat if necessary. If you want to repeat, if you want to go again and again in that particular point, what exactly happened at 8:15, what exactly happened at 8:45, what exactly happened at 8:50. If there is a no point, if there is a routine up to 8:50 a.m. and what exactly happened at 9 a.m. only. So you can repeat this activity from 8:45 to 9 a.m. and if it is necessary to revise, recall this activity from different members, and if you want to reconstruct all these things in that particular scene, then you can reconstruct and make the chronological order. Ask witness for suggestions for future avoidance. So you can make the people aware that this accident should not be happen in the future. This accident should not be happen in the other sections or in the other companies. To avoid these repetitions or recurrence of this accident, you should suggest, you should give the fact or the actual information of this accident. Then encourage further contact. If you want to say something after this shift, after the company is closed, or after a first day or a second day after an accident, whatever, if you feel at home that I should say something regarding this activity, I should say something regarding this person, or after completing that shift, if he or she recalls something and if it is important, then you can again contact to that team member of the investigation committee and you can add some points in the investigation. Then be polite and thank the witness. So that is again one of the parameters that depending on the person's nature, some persons are not polite in nature, some persons are short-tempered, but that should be not the case with the investigation team members, and that is why investigation team member selection is very important. Some skills should be adopted by these team members, some knowledge or some activities or some legal requirement or some personality related skills also should be adopted by the team members, and that is why this politeness and thankfulness is very important in this interview techniques, so that that person is feeling the comfort and he can or she can again contact you for giving the feedback or the real information, maybe after a day or 2 days. Then how to report this accident? So employee must report to the supervisor. So supervisor is the local authority who is going to report to the senior one or to the management directly, depending on the situation. So the employee must report to the supervisor. That is the first case. Then supervisor is the responsible person for initiating the reporting procedure. So supervisor should contact with the safety officer, should contact with the safety department, safety manager, management committee, etc. If already the investigation committee is formed in your company, then you can contact directly to the team member that this accident is happened, this incident is happened, or this near miss is happened. So you should come to the site, you should come to a particular point as soon as so without interfering uh, some incidents, you can do these things and investigation accident is happen. Then supervisor responsible for complete of incident report for near miss, level 1 and level 2 incidents involve safety manager and area safety representative. So that case is already discussed. The supervisor in conjunction with relevant head of department responsible for completion of level 3 incident reports and also involves the safety manager and area safety representative. Suppose this accident is happen in the production department, then that production manager should be involved in this activity for the investigation procedure. Then the safety manager should also involved in this activity, and the supervisor and other persons which are directly concerned with this accident should involved in that activity. So the accident level is also important. If the accident level is 1 or 2 or it is near miss, then supervisor and safety manager and the production manager or the particular section manager is responsible for investigation and reporting that accident. If the accident level is 3, then that should be reported to the head of department also. Then head of department responsible for completion of corrective actions. So whatever the investigation, whatever the fact finding, whatever the interviews, reports or results, so whatever the reasons or the causes of that accident, then on that basis, the HOD of that particular section should make a list of corrective actions or the proactive actions to adopt in the future to avoid the recurrence or the repetition of this accident. Then reports to the senior manager and safety manager is another responsibility of that particular HOD or the supervisor depending on the level of these accidents. So this is the responsibilities of this reporting of incidents. Then accident investigation and report process. What exactly the process is? If it is a near miss incident, then supervisor shall ensure the near miss report to the higher authority to complete the process. If it is the level 1 accident, then supervisor along with the safety representative or that area manager should report that accident through the report form, that is required incident report form, to the safety manager within 24 hours. And if it is the level 2 incident, then the supervisor, then area representative or the manager, safety manager, safety representative, all these persons should be involved in the incident reporting with reference to that incident report form, and all these points should be collectively discussed and finalized and should write in that report form and should report to the higher authorities. Then if the accident or incident is level 3 accident, then all the persons, that is supervisor, safety manager, then safety representative or that particular department head, all should be involved in the reporting activity for writing the report form and complete the reporting process to the higher authorities. So depending on the type of accident or incident, the investigation and reporting should be done, and on the basis of that only the team members are also going to decide. So the key person of all the incident, accident, near miss is nothing but the supervisor, because supervisor is the person who is going to supervise, observe, monitor all the activities which are happening in that particular section or the department. So he is going to or she is going to observe all the activities like machine operation, maybe a electrical maintenance, maybe a mechanical maintenance, maybe a work permit systems, maybe a confined space activity, maybe a working at height activity, whatever may be. So all the activities are going to supervise by the supervisor, and that is why the key person in the investigation, that is accident investigation, is the supervisor. So he takes control of all the scene, calls first aid and emergency services first, that is the priority, then controls the secondary incidents. If due to this accident, if there is a possibility of secondary incident or accident, then that should be controlled by that supervisor. Then identify the sources of evidences, preserve the evidences from alteration or removal, because we don't want to touch, we don't want to control these evidences, because whatever the evidences are there in that particular section or near the machinery or near the scene, that should be untouched by any person, and that should be investigated by the investigation team only. Then he determines the loss potential, notifies the appropriate management, and discuss with your company's emergency response procedures in the event of fire, injury, chemical spills. So depending on the type of accident, depending on the level of accident, if it is a fatality, if it is a fire accident, if it is a chemical spillage or chemical accident, gas leakage, whatever it may be. So depending on the company's emergency response procedures, or depending on the on-site emergency, or it may be an off-site emergency, whatever the emergency is there, if the accident level is higher, then we have to adopt the emergency response procedures, which is designed by the company's manager or the higher authorities, right? So depending on the level and type of accident, supervisor have to report and have to control all these activities related to these accidents. Then what exactly this accident investigation report is and where to report it. So accuracy and completeness of the information is one of the main parameter in this accident investigation report. So we must accurate in the measuring the parameters, collecting the information, collecting the statistical data, collecting the interviews, information from the supervisor, from the operator, worker, helper, manager, etc. And all these information should be complete in all respects. So that may be a technical information, that may be some SOP, that may be some electrical information, that may be some legal requirement information, that may be some psychological stress information, that may be some disturbances or some technological change or some other changes in the regular or conventional procedures. So all the information should be collected by these team members, and that is nothing but the completeness of the informations. All the information should be clear, that is nothing but the clarity of the information. Then completeness already discussed. Then descriptions of all the activities, that is sequence of events leading up to that accident. Then correct identification of all causal factors. So if it is a causal, that is fatal accidents, so you should identify all the correct information which is related to these fatal accidents. Then clarity and completeness of all the causal factors. So suppose for example, if it is a boiler explosion, that so normally in the boiler explosion there are chances of fatality. If it is accident of toxic gas leak or fire, then there is a chances of fatalities. So all this information with clear statistical and clear data should be reported in the report format. Then recommendations made for corrective actions, that is the final process, that whatever the information you want to collect, whatever the identification of these causes or the reasons, after that you should list out, you should make the corrective actions and proactive actions after the completion of this report to reduce the eliminate to reduce or eliminate the probability of recurrence of these similar accidents. Then recommendations for these corrective actions to improve the management systems. So whatever the recommendations, that recommendation may be that you should wear this personal protective equipment, or that recommendation may be that the illumination level should be high, recommendation may be that the noise level should be low, recommendation may be that this particular operation should be handled with the robots only, that should be handled with some other machineries, that should not be handled by the persons, that is manual handling should be replaced by the mechanical means or the robotics or the automation, whatever it may be. So whatever the recommendations are there, that should be adopted by the management and that should be reported to the management by the team members. Then some timelines. So specific time period should be decided by the top management, that this accident should be investigated and reported in a particular timeline only, and that should be monitored, and the responsible person should uh, assign all this activity, should complete all this reporting activity in a particular time span only. Then proper review and sign off. So after completing this report, the review by the experts, review by the top management, review by the Department of Industrial and Safety Health, Safety Inspector, Assistant Director or Deputy Director or Director. So all the persons or the experts should be involved for reviewing this proper report, and then it should be finalized. So a good report should be made by these team members. Then what exactly the accident investigation report is? So some typical contents is listed here. What is the title of that accident, then date of the accident, time of accident, location of accidents. So location may be a particular section, that may be a particular company, that may be a particular MIDC, whatever it may be. So you have to write down the exact location of that accident, then type of injury or damage, who and what was involved. So the involvement may be a storage tank, the involvement may be a compressor room, that may be a boiler, that may be a particular gas cylinder, etc. In some of the cases, the injury to the fingers of a particular persons, the injury may be to the hands to the particular persons. So that is the type of injury. What exactly the damage part is, what is the severity and level of the damage is. So all these things should be written. If there is a death of any worker or the employee of a company, then you should mention that fatality of one person. What exactly the reason or the cause of that fatality, that should be also mentioned. Then what is the cost of these losses? So what are the accident losses in terms of rupees, that should be mentioned. Then description of what happened, including emergency response sequence. So what exactly happened is, then how the supervisor called to a first aid team, their emergency team, that may be a fire tender, that may be a SCBA apparatus, that may be some other apparatus or the expert persons, whatever it may be. So all these things should be mentioned in the description of this particular emergency response sequence. Then how the accident occurred, extent of damage. So the series of these events, all this should be mentioned in the accident occurring. Then immediate, that is direct and indirect causes, all should be mentioned. Direct causes may be energy sources like electrical lines or electrical heavy lines, that may be some spillage of material, that may be a leakage of material, that is nothing but the direct cause. So if the chlorine is leaked through the cylinders or through the pipeline, and if there is a fatality is happen, or some eye irritations, skin irritations, or respiratory tract irritations may happen, so this is nothing but the direct cause of these accidents. If indirect cause is there, so that may be an answer fact or conditions. So some bad housekeeping conditions, that may be a oil spillage on the floor, and due to the oil spillage, slippery trippery conditions may be there, and due to that accident is happen. So that may be a indirect causes of all these accidents. Some basic causes, that may be a personal reason, personal factors, psychological stresses, overloaded, etc. or that may be a health problem. Some environmental factors. So there may be some pollutants present in that working environment. That may be issues related to the water, that may be issues related to the noise. So whatever the environmental factors are disturbing, and due to that disturbance, accident may be happen. So whatever the causes are there, you should mention all this direct, indirect, or the other causes in that list. Then lack of control. So some management policies may be lacking. There may be some lacuna in the management policies. There may be some lacunas in the SOPs. So that should be mentioned in the lack of control. Then remedial actions, temporary or permanent. So if the remedial actions are good, if the facilities for the remedial actions or the solutions are available in the company, then the severity of accident is going to reduce. So whatever the remedial actions, that may be a temporary or the permanent nature, that should be mentioned in that list. Then management review. So on the basis of this accident investigation, the facts of accidents, the causes of accidents, the injury or the damage of accident, whatever the losses or accident, what are the direct or indirect causes of these accidents, all these things should be reviewed by the management, and on the basis of this reviews, management can take a decision to correct this accident, to identify the root cause of that accident, and to remove these root causes, to remove these factors. Then they can provide some facilities, they can provide some trainings, they can provide some technological change, they can provide some sophisticated instruments or the equipments to avoid this repetition or recurrence of these accidents. And some other points, if you want to mention in that accident investigation report, then you can report the particular points also. So these are the typical contents of this accident investigation report. The report may be differ company to company. The points may be differ company to company again, but where the statutory requirement is there, where some rules and regulation is applicable to that particular accident, then you should follow that statutory requirement form, that particular form number only. Then accident report where to. So accident investigation is happened, the team members is decided, team members have planned how to investigate this accident, then they have made the report of this accident. Now where to report this accident report? So all incident reports are analyzed and summary information is presented at the next monthly management meeting and safety committee meeting. So we have to present all these summary points of this particular accident investigation in the monthly management meeting and in the safety committee meeting to aware all these facts which is found out by these team members, and to aware all the employees of this company. All level 2 and 3 accidents or incidents are reviewed at the next weekly management meeting. Any lessons learned are communicated to management and employees from information distributed to all the supervisors and on company notice boards. So for the company, accident level 2 and 3, all the things should be communicated to the management and all the employees of this company. Incident reports are copied to the relevant head of department and general manager in the case of level 2 and 3 reports. So all these reports can be studied by these particular managers or the head of that department, so that they can provide some facilities, they can take some corrective actions which is related to this accident to avoid the repetition or recurrence of these accidents. Then this is the form of this accident, what exactly this accident report form is there. So you can go through these parameters which is involved in this form. So what are the parameters in this form is agency. What is the agency? Who is the agency? then accident date, reporting date, employee name, last and first, then job title, immediate supervisor, description detail, how accident is happened, then where it is happened, where from it happened, was medical treatment is required or not, exact location where the event is occurred, name of the witnesses, name of the person completing this section of this report, and the signature of the responsible person, and the date of that particular responsible person who is going to investigate this accident, right? So these are some of the parameters. Some other parameters are name of the person completing the section of this report, then position of that person, that is the designation of that person in that company, or if it is the government representative, then the designation with the department of that government agency, like Department of Industrial Safety Health, that may be a Maharashtra Pollution Control Board or Central Pollution Control Board. Is the person completing report trained in accident investigation? Because before accident investigation, he or she should adopt some accident investigation skills, interviewing skills, some technical knowledge, etc. So is the person completing this report trained in that accident investigation? If yes, you should mention yes. Was equipment involved? If in the accident equipment is involved, then you should mention yes. And what type of equipment is there? Is there a job safety analysis for equipment is done? If it is yes, then the date of that job safety analysis should be mentioned. Have similar accident is happened in the history, in the previous year, or in the same year? If it is happened, then you should mention the reasons why it is happened. Did the incident involve same individual? If the accident is involving the same person or the same individual, then you should mention yes. Then you should mention the location of that particular person, that is the department or the section of that person, or the machine or machinery involved in that accident. Then what is the scene? Was the scene visited during the investigation? What is the actual procedure of this investigation? And some root cause analysis should be done for these accidents. So that may be a condition of unsafe condition, that may be a unsafe act, or some other factors involved, or the combination of all these factors. So all the things should be mentioned in this accident reporting form. So this is one of the sample of this form. So this contains and the parameters are changing day by day depending on the amendments in the rules and regulation of this accident reporting form, right? So as far as IS 3786 is concerned, we have already discussed in one of the session that the principal factors related to the causation of accidents are agency wise, unsafe mechanical or physical condition wise, then unsafe act wise, unsafe personal factor wise, type of accident, nature of injury, and location of injury. Because normally all the companies in India are following this IS 3786 standard for accident causation, accident types, and accident investigations, right? So in this IS 3786, it is clearly mentioned that B1 is the category, that is nothing but the classification of according to the agency. B2 is the category where classification of according to the unsafe material or physical conditions are mentioned. B3, classification according to the unsafe act is there. B4, classification according to the unsafe personal factor is there. B5, classification according to the type of accident. In the B6, classification according to the nature of injury. And B7, classification according to the location of injury. So all these things, all these parameters we have already discussed in the session of IS 3786. So I am not going to repeat all these things again. Just you must refer on this IS 3786 classification of the accident or the principal factors. Then these are the examples which we have already discussed in that session only. What exactly the agency is. Then this is the simple example that speed changing pulley belt of the leg. Then part of IS 3786, that is 2023. So likewise, you should mention that what exactly the root cause is. That may be unsafe condition, that may be unsafe act, that may be unsafe person factor, that may be a different type of accident, that may be an example like caught between moving objects, that may be some nature of injury like amputation of 2 fingers, amputation of 1 finger, etc. Then what exactly the location of injury? So finger is the location. So you can go through the examples of this accident and you can identify what exactly the part of IS 3786 is. Then other statutory requirement, that is legal requirement for accident reporting, is Factory Act 1948, right? So under the Factory Act 1948, the section 88 is the main section where accident reporting detailing is given. So it is mandatory for a factory manager to report an accident to the inspector of factory of such accident where worker is unable to discharge duties for 48 hours or more, or where an accident results into death. So if accident type is fatality, then it is mandatory by the law, that is with reference to the section 88 of Act 1948, that you should make a report, you should investigation the activities of that accident, and you should report to the inspector, that is factory inspector of DISH, that is Department of Industrial Safety and Health, immediately. If a person is injured by this accident, and if it is a non-fatal accident, but that person is not going to join the duty before 48 hours, then you should report to the factory inspector again, because this is an reportable accident with this section 88 of Factory Act 1948. So this is another requirement with reference to the Factory Act 1948. Reports submitted by the factory inspector are further analyzed, find out the reasons of accident, and further action is taken to strengthen the safety systems and initiate penal action against the factory owner under these rules. So whatever may be the reasons or the causes of accident is, if the factory manager or the owner of that company is culprit, if it is found that the things which is not going to provide or not provided to that particular person for the safe operation, or the SOPs or the legal requirement guidelines are not followed by this company, then there may be some penal action against that factory owner or the factory manager. Then case of serious accident causing losses of limbs or livelihood are further processed under Employee Compensation Act 1923. So if there is some fatality, if there is some losses of limbs, there is some losses of one leg or one hand, or both hand, both leg, whatever it may be. So all these things are given under the Employee Compensation Act, that there is some calculations, there is some formula where you can calculate what exactly the compensation is, depending on the type of company, depending on the type of injury, depending on the experience of that worker, compensation can be calculated. And with reference to this ECA 1923, the company should pay that amount to that particular worker or the employee. Then there is another statutory requirement for accident reporting is, that is Building and Other Construction Worker Act 1948. So that is called as BOCW Act 1948. So where the construction sites are there, where the construction work is going on, and where this building and other construction work act or rule is applicable, then for that site accident reporting is necessary again. So notice of an accident on the construction site, which either causes loss of life, that is nothing but the fatality, or disabilities of a building worker from working for a period of 48 hours or more immediately following that accident, shall forthwith be sent to the regional labor commissioner, then board with which the building worker involved in accident was registered as a beneficiary, then director general and next in kin or other relative. So at the construction site, if there is an accident, if there is some disabilities or the fatalities happen with the building worker, then within 48 hours, if the building worker is not going to join the duty, then it is a mandatory condition to report to the regional labor commissioner with reference to this Building and Other Construction Worker Act and rule. Then notice of accident to construction site which causes loss of life or disable such as building worker from work for more than 10 days following the accident shall also be sent to the office in charge of nearest police station. Then district magistrate is also essential condition. So you have to report all these accident reasons why this accident has happened, what are the results of this accident, what are the losses of these accidents. All these things should be reported to the nearest police station and district magistrate within 10 days. That is the another condition under this BOCW Act 1948. Then there is another requirement, that is statutory requirement, that is ESIC Act 1948, that is Employees State Insurance Act 1948, right? So all the employees are covered under this ESIC should be known to the employer, and within 24 hours after an accident, that report should be made and should be reported to the police department, that is nearest police station, and all the factors, that is medical expenses or hospitalization charges or some sickness benefit should be given to that particular employee with reference to this ESIC rules. So all these things should be done within 24 hours, and that is why ESIC hospitals are again the main hospitals where the employees can take the benefits of these medical expenses, and the sickness benefits also can be claimed legally with reference to this ESIC Act. Then you have to report to the ESIC branch manager or commissioner or assistant regional director about this accident, detailing of this accident. Then FIR of the accident should be given to that ESIC branch manager so that they can understand what exactly happened, where it happened, what is exactly the location, what is the type of company, what is the type of accident, and what are the root cause of the accidents, and what may be the medical expenses and sickness benefits may be claimed by that particular person. Then if employee is out of ESIC preview but still it's employer liability to pay compensation, then that should be again claimed with reference to this ESIC rule again, right? Then there is a form number 16 is there, that is called as accident report form, which is available under this ESIC Act, that should be filled by the manager or the responsible person of that company, and that should be submitted to the ESIC manager or the commissioner. If it is a road accident, then that should be claimed. Only accident occurs during the course of employment, right? If it is on duty accident and if it is road accident, then you can also claim with reference to this ESIC, but after completing the FIR procedure through the police station only. Then IT Revolution no need submit any forms to the ESIC other than form 37, employment re-employment to avail the medical treatment. So you can refer this form number 37 of this ESIC for availing this medical treatment, where there is no need of submission of other formats. So these are the different statutory requirements for accident reporting, that is Factory Act, then BOCW Act and ESIC Act, right? Now, which agencies are involved under this investigation accidents? So depending on the gravity, nature of accident, the investigation committee member may be a foreman or a supervisor, that may be a safety officer or safety engineer, that may be a safety committee member or some experts. So if it is a chemical accident, then chemical experts should be involved. If it is electrical accident, then electrical experts should be involved. If it is an accident due to the maintenance procedure, then maintenance person should be involved. So depending on the type of accident, these members should be involved in that committee, right? So step one is assess the injury, then obtain the medical treatment if necessary, then interview injured employee and witness, observe the accident scenes and analyze the facts, file a worker compensation claim, follow all these activities, and then make the corrective action or list out the corrective actions depending on the facts finding with the help of this investigation procedure. So these are the different steps which are covered under this agency's investigation accident reporting. Normally these accident causes are, major reasons are unsafe act and unsafe conditions, right? What exactly the unsafe act is? So the act which is not required or which is incorrect and it is done by the person, that is called as unsafe act, right? So an act by the injured person or another person. So where maybe done this act, but if that act is unsafe, if the act results in the injury to the person, damage to the environment, damage to the material, or results in the near miss or incident or accident, then it is called as unsafe act. If the environmental or hazardous situation is there in the company and if accident is happened, then it is called as unsafe condition. So the condition may be unsafe electrical wires lying on the floor, that may be a oil spillage lying on the floor, that may be some heavy electrical lines hanging overhead in the companies. So these are the different conditions called as unsafe conditions. So these are the main two causes of accident, that is unsafe act and unsafe conditions. Some accident causation models are also designed. Some scientists have also decided or prepared some theories, but these are the some of the points which can be involved on this under this accident causation model. So results of the accidents, that may be a damage, that may be an injury to the person, that is one of the point. Then incident contact, that is accident. Immediate causes, some symptoms can be identified. Suppose if there is a respiratory tract issue, there is a respiratory problem, there is asphyxiation or it is also called as suffocation due to CO2, that may be due to chlorine leakage, that may be due to H2S, or that may be due to some LPG or other gases. So depending on the symptoms also you can identify what exactly the causes is and you can go for the remedies or the solution for that accident. So you can control that particular accident immediately if you identify or predict the particular immediate causes or the symptoms. Then basic causes, that may be a real problem. So if the duty is for 8 hours as per the Factory Act, if you are going to work for 9 hours, 10 hours or more than 10 hours, then there may be some fatigue problem, there may be some problem due to repetition or continuation of that work, then that is nothing but the real problems. So there are different examples of these real problems. You can identify the causes on the basis of this real problem, due on the basis of symptoms, on the basis of type of accident or the injury or damage to that particular environment or material. So these are the different points covered under accident causation model. This is the chain of accident causation. So if you observe these points, basic causes, immediate causes, incident contact and accident results. So whatever we have discussed in the previous slide, that is shown with the help of this flow chart only. Management safety policies and decisions, supervisory performance, personal factors and job factors. All these factors are already decided. If it is connected to the human factors, some standards, so some ISO standards, some IS standards, all the standards are available. That may be a national level standard, that may be international level standards, and that may be a standard decided by the company, that is local standards. Some substandards are also there, which is designed by that company or the state government or the central government. So all these standards should be followed. If it is not followed, then accident may be happen. So that is nothing but the unplanned release of energy, that may be a release of hazardous material, that may be a spillage of hazardous material, that may be a leakage of a particular chemical, that may be a electrical line leakage or some other type. Then person can be injured or the property can be damaged, and some cost may be calculated for these accidents, and all these parameters are mainly due to the not following these practices or the standards, substandards, and maybe in some cases some human factors are also involved. In results of this accident, obviously the injury and damage. So injury or illness may be catastrophic, that is multiple deaths. So more than one death is there in that accident or in the result of accident, then that is called as catastrophic accident. Then if death, only one fatality is there, then it is called as fatality or death. If there is a disabling or lost time or major accidents, means a person may be lost his limbs, may lost his two legs, two hands, etc., or the combination of one hand and one leg, etc. So all these things are nothing but the disabling injuries or disabling accidents. Some serious accidents, that may be neck injury, that may be a head injury, etc. Then some minor injuries, that may be to the fingers, to the thumb, etc. Then some notifiable diseases or accidents are also there. So suppose if asbestos is there in the working environment of your company and you are going to respire that asbestos in the respiratory tract, then asbestosis is one of the disease which is called as notifiable disease. So that may be a notifiable accident. So if the coal mine is there and accident is happened, and if coal is respired by the employees or the people which are available in that coal mine, so there may be a black lung disease, it is called as. So that is also a notifiable disease and it is called as notifiable accidents. So likewise, there are 29 notifiable diseases mentioned in the Factory Act, and you can call it as notifiable accident depending on that. Then some compensable accidents are also there. So compensation may be with the help of this Employee State Insurance Act, that may be with the help of Workmen Compensation Act. So all these acts and rules can give you the guidelines for compensation. So these are the different forms of these results of accidents, that is physical harm. Then damage may be a property damage, that may be a catastrophic again, that may be a major property damage, that may be a serious property damage, that may be a minor property damage. These are the different results of these accidents. Then incident contact examples are struck against, struck by, fall to below, fall on same level, caught on, caught in, caught between, overexertion, chemical contact. These are the different examples of this contact. So if you are contact to the open or the heavy electrical lines, then that may be a one example where the incident or accident is happened due to this electricity. So these energy lines or electricity is one of the example. Likewise, there are different examples that may be contact with the plant and equipment. So equipment may be a furnace, equipment may be a reactor, equipment may be some heat treatment devices or cold treatment devices like refrigerator. So there may be some heat stresses, cold stresses, etc. Then contact with the noise or vibrations. So compressor, blower room is the different example where noise is more than 90 decibels or 85 decibels. Then hazardous substances. So hazardous substances list is given in the Factory Act as well as in the MSIC rule 1989. So near about 684 chemicals are listed out in as toxic or hazardous chemicals in the manufacture, storage, import and hazardous chemical rule 1989. So you have to identify these substances. If you are going to contact these substances or unknowingly if you contact these substances, there may be an incident or accident. Then some radiation hazards. So X-ray, gamma ray machines or some alpha rays. So other machines can be handled in some of the companies, in some of the labs, especially when we are doing some test which is related to the physics lab or some labs which are related to the nuclear research. Then radiation hazard may be one of the example. Then heat and cold already discussed. animals or insects. So there may be some uh, animal bites or some insect bites. So some of the problems which are handling in the various industries, especially when the company is in the isolated places where the company's area is bigger than the normal one, then there may be a problem of honeybees, there may be a problem of snake bites, there may be a problem of rat bites, etc. So all these things are nothing but the examples of contact with. So if you contact this snake, rat or honeybee, so there may be some incident or accident. Then microbiological agents. So some organisms or microorganisms may be present in the working environment. If you contact to the microorganisms, so then again there is a chances of incidents. Some immediate causes examples like standard practices and conditions are operating with authority, use serviceable equipment, use equipment properly, use of PP where required, some correct lifting, no drinking and drugs, no horseplay, secure equipment or warnings. These are the some standard practices should be adopted to avoid the accidents. Some standard conditions: effective guards and devices, serviceable tools and equipment, adequate warning systems, good housekeeping, non-polluted environment, that is noise and hazardous substance should be avoided, or should be the hazardous substance or hazard should be eliminated, or the level of hazard should be reduced. Then good illumination and ventilation should be adopted and provided. Good working conditions and storage traveling spaces should be identified and should be followed with reference to the legal requirements only. Then there are some basic causes. These are some of the examples like personal factors, job factors, then supervisory performance and management policies and decisions. So you can go through these different factors under this personal factor, like lack of knowledge or skills, then improper motivation, physical or mental conditions, then literacy or ability, then some job factors like physical environment, substandard equipment, abnormal uses, wear and tear, inadequate standards, design and maintenance, purchasing standards, then some supervisory performance like inadequate instructions, failure of safety operating procedures or standard operating procedures, then rules not enforced, then hazards not corrected, or devices not provided. So whatever the equipments, whatever the instruments, whatever the monitoring instruments or the measuring instruments which required in that particular premises in the particular section, that should be provided by the management and that should be used by that employee only. Then and then only it is going to happen as a SOP, like smooth operation, that is safe operating procedures only. But if you are not having the knowledge of that particular chemical, if you are not having the knowledge of that particular machine, that particular working environment, then you should take a training first and then only you can go for that particular machine operation or for the chemical handling, right? Then some management policies and decision. Set measurable standards. So some international standards like ILO, that is International Labour Organizations, are already available. Then some national standards are also there. So Factory Act or some international standards like OSHA's, some ISO standard certifications, all these are available. If you want to prepare your own company standard, then you can go for that also. But that standard should be stringent than the national standard. Then and then only it is useful, right? Because you have to follow the national standard when you are in India. You have to follow the state level rules when you are in the particular Maharashtra. Then you have to follow this Maharashtra Factory Rule 1963. So if you want to make or prepare the standard for your company, then you should go for the stringent norms, stringent standards than the MFR 1963 or than the MPCB, Maharashtra Pollution Control Board. Say for example, nowadays the amendment is done in the Noise Pollution Rule 2000, that is now 85 decibel is the maximum permissible limit instead of 90 decibels. If you want to prepare your company's own standard, then you should go for the less than 85 decibels. That is you should go for the 80 decibels is the maximum permissible criteria for the noise. Then and then only it is useful, right? Then measure work in progress, then evaluate work standards, then correct performance if necessary or if it is required. So all these are the factors under these basic causes. Then after these things, whatever the statutory requirement is there, what are the different causes may be there, what is the investigation process there, what is the team members, all these things after reporting the accident to the management, reporting to the Department of Industrial Safety and the Health, that is factory inspector, to the MPCB or other concerned agency, you should go for the corrective actions. So what may be the corrective action is conduct job safety analysis, that is JSA, then review or revise or devise the policies, procedures or rules. If you find that this policy or this particular rule is having some lacuna or having some negative points or incorrect procedure is followed by the persons or the company in the convention process, then you can go for the review of these policies or the procedures. Then enforce some policies or procedures or rules if it is not adoptable by the company or that particular section or the manager or the employee, then you can go for the enforcing these policies or the new policies with reference to the latest amendments of the laws and regulations. Then provide training to employees. If an employee is not trained in that particular operation, in that handling of that chemicals, in handling of that particular section or the machineries, then you can ask the person to go for that particular training. Then provide refresher training. So if some employees are having good experience, but if they are not going to recall all the SOPs, all the factors which involved under that training, and if some person is transferred from one section to the another section, even though it is training is done by that person in before 10 years or before 15 years, then also for that person refresher training should be provided. Then promote employee participation. So in the safety cultures, in the safety competition, in the safety motivation, in the safety essay competition, safety poster competition, etc., all the employees should be promoted to the different designation, motivated to participate in the different competitions which are related to the safety. Then ensure safety work conditions. You have to ensure the conditions which are in the company. All these conditions are safe to work. Ensure proper job placement of employees, that is physical limitation should be there. If the heavy job is there, then you should ask the persons who are having the age range from 20 to 40 only to do that job, because this is the heavy job. If the night shift is there, if the production work is more, then you can ask the person who are capable for that job only. So if the soft work is there, if the communication work is there, if some presentation is there, so whatever the soft work are there, you can ask the female candidates to do that job. Then workplace provisions. So there are some other parameters under these workplace provisions. Purchase new tools and equipments. So if the accident is happen, if you identify or determine that this happened due to this particular power tool or hand tool, if you want to replace that tool, then you can go for the purchase of new tools, right? Nowadays in the hazardous area where the highly flammable or explosive chemicals are stored or handled, then you can go for the anti-static tools to avoid the static charges. So this is one of the example where you can purchase the new tools and equipment instead of the conventional equipments or tools. Then redesign of the work area. If you identify that some plant layout or procedure is not good, then you can go for the redesign. Improve the housekeeping. We have already discussed about this housekeeping. You should adopt the 5S level, that is Japanese technique for the housekeeping, to avoid the incident or accident due to the bad housekeeping. Then install warning devices. So some devices are results in the beeping sound, some results in the actual sound, some results in the LED displays, like that. So you have to install these warning devices in that premises where the accident is happened. Then add to existing signages, signboards, etc. Remove the broken equipment or tools. You have to replace or redesign that particular equipment or tools where these tools or equipments are involved in that particular accident. Improve the lighting, that is illumination level. If you find in the accident investigation that the illumination level is not as per the norms, or not as per the OSHA's standard, or not as per the standards, then you can go for the improvement in the lighting. Then improve in the ventilation. If you find in the accident investigation that one of the reason is suffocation, one of the reason is asphyxiation, or one of the reason is fresh air is not available in the required quantity, then you can ask the manager or the management to improve the ventilation conditions. Then you can limit some access. If suppose untrained persons, untrained employees, or the visitors are going to access that particular uh, section where the accident is happened, then you have to limit that particular access. Suppose, for example, in the automobile industries, the paint area section, the paint section is 100% limited access to the particular person only, because normally in the paint industry, uh, most of the industries are now adopting the robots for painting purpose, because the solvents and the paints are hazardous to the person, and solvents and paints are also the explosive as well as highly flammable chemicals, and that is why there is no entry uh, or the restrictions of the entry to that particular section. This is one of the examples. So likewise, you can go for the different limited access for the different sections. So these are the some of the example where you can go for the corrective actions. Then after the corrective action, what should be the proactive action? So proactive safety management is all about the keeping ahead of the game, resolving any issues before an incident or an accident occurs. So you have to go for the proactive actions to avoid the recurrence or the repetition of these accidents. So for that purpose, you must go for the inspections. You must adopt some interview techniques, interviewing to the supervisors, to the helpers, to the employers, etc. Then you can go for the audits. The audit may be an energy audit, that may be a safety audit, that may be some measuring audits, etc. Then you can go for the monitoring performance. So the performance may be of working environment for the chemicals, that may be a performance for the working environment, that is comfortable zone, that may be for the comfortable temperature, that may be for the comfortable oxygen level or fresh air, that may be a particular parameter like maximum pressure, maximum RPM level for that particular machinery, etc. So all these things should be monitored and should be reported to the management. Then you should go to monitor for the behavioral aspects. So nowadays we have already discussed about this BBS, that is behavioral based study. So some of the accidents reasons or the causes are behavioral change in the employment or employee, right? So you should identify why this behavior is changed in the employee, what are the reasons, how to identify and how to rectify this behavior or how to change this behavior in a positive manner. Then checking procedures. So you should check all the SOPs which is already designed by the company, that is nothing but the conventional procedures. So that should be again checked by the experts, that should be rectified or corrected if required, and you should go for some safety sampling. So sampling may be air sampling may be water sampling, or some other sampling techniques also can be adopted. So these are the proactive actions. So after corrective action, you should go for the proactive action to avoid the accident, incident, near miss, etc. So in all together, if you go for this accident causes, if you study the accident, or if you prepare the investigation team in a proper manner, if you investigation all these accident, and then you can go for the corrective measures and proactive actions to avoid the repetition of this accident. Thank you.